Hi, welcome back. I'm John Hale, and I am a Maryland backyard beekeeper. In today's episode, we're going to cover what no beekeeper likes to deal with: swarms. Swarms of their own hives. So as you know, I bought 2 nukes at the beginning of the season, and those 2 nukes have gone very well. If you listen to the previous videos, I've talked about how the fact that they were packed with brood, packed with larvae, packed with resources. So everything was going really well until this week. And I had to deal with not only 1, but 2 swarms. So sit back. If you like what you see, hit the subscribe button, follow along. And today we're going to talk about swarms and how I dealt with them.
This is what happens when your bees swarm. They are on my bird feeder. So I called my mentor, and we're going to see if we can find a new place for them to live. So, try to get them in a new box and move them over. Now the thing is, when bees are swarming like this, they're at their most docile state. They could really care less about me. They could care less about anything else. All they're worried about is trying to find a new place for their queen and a new place to set up shop. So it's really no threat to us at all. So as I pointed out, this was my first hive. They did swarm to the bird feeder in my yard. We contacted my mentor. He came over, and we were able to place them into a 5-frame nuke, and he moved them to an outyard, which he has. By doing that, I gained the experience that I needed to actually kind of capture a swarm, and put them into a new nuke, and the behaviors that you see and how you handle the bees. It was the first time I'd ever done that, so doing it with my mentor on this particular day was a good thing. Because lo and behold, how was I supposed to know that the very next day, my other hive would swarm to a tree in the yard, and so that leads us on to the next hive. So my second hive swarmed to a pine tree in my backyard. It's in the very top of the frame. It's about it looks like a pineapple hanging from the pine tree. That you can see right there. So I saw this on a YouTube video where this guy took a bucket and put it on the end of an extendable paint rod. He taped the bucket up there and was able to get the bees in it. So I thought I'd try that, and it worked out fairly well. So I have this 5-gallon just plain white bucket taped on the end of a extendable paint pole. I have a garden hoe up here because I was going to try to figure out how I could give the limb a quick wrap to get the bees down into the bucket. So I placed the bucket under the bees, and then I was able to reach up with the hoe and give the limb a quick jerk to bounce the bees off the limb into the bucket. At this point, I felt pretty confident that I had gotten most of the bees off the tree. There's still some flying in the air, but I got most of them off the tree into the bucket, and it filled the bucket up about a quarter of the way up. So one of the 5-frame wooden nukes that I'd gotten from originally buying my beehives, I just used that, placed some new frames inside, and I poured the bees from the bucket into the nuke, just as a big pile on top. And I let the bees work their way down inside themselves. One of the behaviors that I'm looking for that I was very happy to see after the first probably 20 seconds was a lot of the ladies had their butts up in the air and they were fanning, indicating that the queen was inside the hive, and they were fanning her pheromones, letting all the other bees know that this is home. So that the bees that are flying in the air would ultimately be able to find them. After I let the bees settle down for for probably 2 or 3 minutes. I then went ahead and put the lid on and and counted it as a success because the bees seemed to be fairly happy in the new hive. So here the bees are in their new nuke. This is a 5-frame nuke with a Boardman entrance feeder on it that has sugar water in it. It's sitting on top of another empty 5-frame nuke. There's nothing in the bottom one, um, and they seem to be fairly happy. So I call it a success. And now instead of having 2 hives, I now have 3. So until next time, thanks a lot, guys.